You hear it all the time, right? Companies are pouring billions of dollars into AI, promising a revolution. But what if most of that money is just going right down the drain? Today, we're going to dig into a framework that separates the AI winners from the wannabes and gives you a clear roadmap to make sure your organization is on the right side of that divide. Okay, let's just start with a hard truth. A study by MIT Sloan and BCG found that despite all the hype, despite all the investment, only about 10% of organizations are actually seeing significant financial benefits from their AI initiatives. Let that sink in for a second. Just 1 in 10. So what gives? If this technology is so game-changing, why are 90% of companies basically striking out when it comes to cashing in? Well, that's the billion-dollar question we're tackling today.
Well, the answer really boils down to what you could call the AI value problem. And here's the thing. It's this dawning realization that getting AI right isn't about just buying the latest, shiniest tool. It's about fundamentally rewiring your organization, from your data and your teams to your entire culture.
You know, a lot of AI projects, they just fizzle out. And that's because organizations completely underestimate what it really takes. Real success isn't just about cool algorithms. It's about building the real foundations, like your infrastructure and talent. It's about actually scaling your efforts beyond just a few isolated experiments. And maybe most importantly, it's about creating a culture of learning where humans and machines can truly work together. So, if this whole path to AI value is so tricky, how on earth do you navigate it without getting completely lost? Well, you definitely don't just wing it. What you need is a roadmap, a structured guide to see where you are, where you're headed, and exactly what to do next.
And that's exactly what a maturity model is. I mean, think of it like a GPS for your company's AI journey. It's this tool that gives you a real, objective way to measure your progress, and then lays out super clearly the next turns you need to take to get better.
And the roadmap we're going to be using today comes from MITRE. They've put together this really comprehensive AI maturity model that's designed to give organizations that solid footing, helping them build out their AI capabilities from the ground up, the right way. So, this whole thing, it really boils down to 2 key ideas. First, you've got 5 levels of maturity. Think of these as the stages of your journey. And second, there are 6 foundational pillars. These are the core things you absolutely have to get right to move up through those levels. All right, so let's dig into this, starting with the path itself. The model lays out this 5-stage journey, basically taking a company from being a total AI novice all the way to becoming an AI master. Okay, so it all kicks off at level 1, initial. This is where you've just got these scattered, kind of chaotic experiments happening. Then you move up to engaged. That's when a few champions pop up and start some small pilot projects. At level 3, defined. Things get serious. The whole organization starts documenting processes for everyone to follow. Next up is level 4, managed, where decisions start being driven by actual data, not just gut feelings. And then finally, you hit the peak, level 5, optimized. This is where AI is just part of the DNA, driving constant innovation across the board. It's a super clear path from total chaos to real mastery. Okay, so those are the stages of the journey. But how do you actually climb from one level to the next? What does it take? Well, that's where the model's 6 foundational pillars come into play. You can think of these as the building blocks for your entire ascent. So these 6 pillars are basically the essential capabilities you've got to build. You're looking at ethics, strategy, organization, technology, data, and performance. From setting the vision with strategy, to building the right teams in organization, all the way to getting the right tools and measuring the results, the key takeaway here is you can't just cherry pick 1 or 2. Real success means building strength across all 6. Okay, let's zoom in on a couple of these pillars that are just absolutely critical. And, it's really no accident that the MITRE model puts ethics right at the top. Because let's be honest, if you don't get this part right, pretty much nothing else matters. This pillar is all about being proactive. It's about building the guardrails before you need them. The systems, the processes, to make sure your AI is fair and transparent and accountable before it does any harm. This isn't something you clean up later. It is the absolute foundation of trust.
All right, so if ethics is the foundation, then our next pillar, data, is the fuel. I mean, you can have the best strategy on the planet, but without high-quality, accessible data, your AI engine is never even going to start.
The goal here sounds simple, but trust me, it's incredibly tough in practice. Just make sure your teams have the right data right when they need it. And this covers the whole shebang, from data security and architecture to just making sure people can actually find the data and use it. Getting your data house in order is, well, it's a non-negotiable for success.
So we've got the 5 levels of the journey, and we've got the 6 pillars you need to build. Now for the really powerful part, seeing how they all fit together. This is where the model goes from being just a theory to a super practical tool for figuring out your organization's exact spot on the AI map.
And here's what that progression actually looks like. Let's just take the strategy pillar for a sec. At level 1, it's pure chaos. No plan, no budget, zilch. But fast forward to level 5, and that strategy is now this dynamic, living thing, constantly being tweaked based on real-world data to get better outcomes. And what's great is the model gives you this level of detail for every single pillar. And get this isn't just some high-level idea. The Mitra model actually comes with an assessment tool. It asks you a bunch of detailed questions across all the different dimensions inside these 6 pillars, and then it spits out a score, giving your organization a clear visual snapshot of its unique strengths and, yeah, its weaknesses too.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. What this model really shows us is that getting to AI success, it's a construction project. You have to build up your capabilities pillar by pillar. So the big question for you and your organization is this. Looking at these core foundations, which one do you need to start building first?